again, ladies and gentlemen. And it's my great honor to be here to share with you this my presentation on internet and domain name. I think it's very good to start with. I noticed that the first section is on e-discovery. That means that we are now starting from the internet. It is under the time of the internet. So my presentation topic is a new and effective way of building brands online. And this morning I learned from Mr. Albert Khan's presentation that trademark is very important. It identifies your services and goods offline, but nowadays maybe trademark can also identify the source of your service and goods online as well. And how can we do that? And domain name is now part of the portfolio of IP management, because in the past, at the beginning, when domain name comes up and it's a technology matter, it is normally managed by IT department in a corporation. But nowadays, I met a lot of in-house counsel in big companies, in tech giants in mainland China. All domain name matters are managed by in-house counsel, by the IP department. So that has been a shift from the management from IT to legal department of domain name. So let's start my presentation. So the common problem of identifying your brands online in China is trademark squatting and cybersquatting. So we all know that trademark squatting and cybersquatting as well, but this kind of thing, these two issues can happen together, which may complicate brand protection, in particular in China. Let me give you some example how we deal with online. This is a web page. Ladies may know it's a Longshan bag, a very famous brand, but under domain name longshanbagoutlets.com. So if someone else shop online, they may easily misled that this may be a genuine website, but in fact this is not. It is registered by someone else, and who very obvious is a cyber squatter. And they didn't just register the domain name, but set a fake website and selling counterfeiting product online. And the international community, like the INTA, they now focusing on this kind of practice, like we need to tackle infringement online. And recently, I make a decision on a domain name as a domain name panelist, making a ruling on a domain name called sinopaypal.com. And indeed, we all know PayPal. I myself using PayPal, but I never use a Sino PayPal. There is a Sino version of PayPal. And this is a domain name. It is owned by a company in Guangzhou. The Guangzhou company, it is also engaging in online payment services. It registered Sino PayPal as a registered trademark in mainland China, and also set up its online business under this domain name. And the case was filed with the Asian Domain Name Dispute Resolution Center, and I was assigned as a panelist. And it is very, the complicating issue is there was trademark squatting involved and cyber squatting involved. The respondent in this case alleged that I have a registered trademark right in mainland China. So in the meantime, PayPal, the US company, also engaged a Shanghai law firm to fight with to try to set aside the trademark registration, because PayPal has a PayPal registered trademark in China. And how can this Guangzhou company register Sino PayPal as a registered trademark in China? But in fact, this is a reality. So they have to fight in different forum, in PRC court, in a domain name dispute resolution center. So I finally managed to make a decision, arguably, to transfer the domain name back to the PayPal, the US PayPal company. And I understood that my decision was appealed to Beijing court, and now still pending. So the domain name is still active. If you go to sinopaypal.com, it's still working, but not linked to, but there's nothing to do with the real PayPal we are now commonly using. So that's why this one thing that means cybersquatting and trademark squatting is getting more and more common, in particular in mainland China, which attracts a lot of attention from the international community. And once again, likewise, Omega Watches, OmegaGuanWang.cn. Anybody can speak Pinyin know that Guanwang means official website in China. The one without Guanwang may be the fake one, so that means, but it's quite ridiculous. And so, very creative, and like this one, it's a whirlpool, but it's not W. They use double V to pretend it's a W. And I showed this picture last time, someone in the floor said, oh, next time I can register BMWV to pretend it's a BMW. So you think is that the cybersquatter is very creative. They can register any name as a domain name instead of fake website. It looks very dynamic. It looks quite true. It has online chat rooms and hotline as well, free hotline in the world. It's NikeBaby.com. They can add anything, but I don't believe this is the genuine one. Then below is the fake one, and Tmall as well, very famous name, and TMA11. So and you can think of any name. And Baidu 123. I search Baidu A. It does not make sense, but someone like this practice. They just register names, whatever they want, for no reasons. And going online, you can find a lot of its online platform is regarding Samsung-like. I don't think it's a correct spelling. So the price is very low, but it's blocked by the chairs, but it's on an online platform. How about search engine? Search engine is still dangerous in mainland China. I can't say the name, but I just let you know that some search engine has been criticized quite a lot for the keyword subscription services without any trademark protection screening. Like, for example, if you can buy any name as search engine keywords, and if you pay, you can get a higher ranking. That's why the story was about 3 years ago. There were a lot of fake Disneyland hotel website coming up on the top 5 ranking of the major search engine in mainland China. Some tourists booked online and came to Hong Kong to the Disneyland hotel, but there was no reservation. So that's a kind of scamming. So that's why it triggers a big issue, how to protect my brand online, and how to protect my trademark online, how to protect my consumers online, and how to enable them to identify my services from all this misleading internet information. So that has been, I myself has been thinking this issue for a long time. I used to work as in an arbitration center and dealing with domain name dispute. And if you look at the WIPO statistic, the domain name dispute is coming up and up every year. Every year, WITO announced we got 15% increase of domain name cases. They handle more than 3,000 cases a year, involving more than 5,000 domain name or fake website. So that's it is good for arbitration center, and it's also good for lawyer as well, because the more dispute means more counsel work, and more dispute means more case filing fee. The more disputes also means more difficult for consumer to identify your brand online. So that has been, we are now rethinking the issue, trying to, and also INTA thinks that with the development of the internet and the counterfeiting goods are increasingly being sold online, because in the past they sold offline, But nowadays, they put counterfeited goods online and sell it to the consumer around the globe. So this has been very, a very serious matter. Nowadays, we come up with an idea to do a genuine domain name or a domain name dedicated to trademark owner with no cybersquatting issues. So that's why that's last year's INTA meetings newsletter. It called for a solution to protect brands online in mainland China. It says that China has the world's largest economy by purchasing power of piracy, and so it has a major market for counterfeiting goods as well. So the solution one is to file cases with ICANN accredited dispute resolution center, and WIPO, the US forum, the ADN-DLC as well. So in terms of statistics, I think Alibaba filed most of the cases with the Asian Center, and Paul Smith, Nike, Remover, Tencent as well. And these are the statistics from WIPO, 40,000 cases in the past more than a decade. And LEGO ranks the first. And with the new GTLD comes, nowadays you can register a lot, you can have a lot of endings of the domain name. You can do .online, .tops, but all these domain name registration are based on first come, first serve rule without any verification of the applicant's eligibility, whether you are eligible or not to register domain name. So that's the underlying reason that's so many, it is why it is so easy to get a name that can infringe a potential trademark right owner. So ICANN did a survey on how to build trust online, and most of the respondents suggest that top-level domain name registration should have certain kind of screening or restriction on the registration and use. That means not everyone can register any name as they want as a domain name. And nowadays, let me talk about the idea of the dot trademark. This two Chinese character is indeed, it is a domain name string at the top level part of the internet address. We use this two Chinese character to create a top level domain name, which has been approved and authorized by ICANN. And we have started our business and roll out for registration in 2015. And now the idea is actually coming from, and also we all know Coca-Cola. They brand their products locally in China. That means we used to use Circle R or TM to denote this as a registered trademark or it is a trademark registered or not. And now in China, Chinese consumer has low awareness. What does Circle R means and what does trademark mean? What does TM means in China? But most of them can recognize these two Chinese character. Just tell them this is a trademark. So that it has a certain kind of warning message. And we make it as a domain name. We are the first one and the only one who implement trademark right verification and protection system before the domain name registration. We are now doing an experiment like that. We are imposing the trademark registration system onto domain name registration. So to make sure the domain name registration has a legitimate trademark right, and the name they're going to register is the applicant's own name. They cannot register someone else's name, and to make sure, to guarantee that this is a trusted website. And so everybody who can memorize the trademark name, they will have they can easily go to their official website without any distraction. So this is the idea. The criteria we have to sustainably, and we have to ongoing to verify the trademark right, because we know the trademark right is quite dynamic. Sometimes you have a very strong trademark right. If you don't use your mark for a period of time, you may not have a strong trademark right, or your trademark right may be lost. So that's why we have to review regularly our applicants' trademark right status. We recognize a registered trademark right, and we also recognize common law trademark right as well. And so this is the statistic that we have on the DOT trademark application, and it is we have rejected quite a number of cybersquatting or trademark squatting application, which we have refused more than 5,000 application for the DOT trademark name from trademark squatter and from cyber squatters. And some of the business department told me that my department has refused business income for more than 7 million Hong Kong dollar because of we impose a very stringent criteria that not everyone can register DOT trademark, right? And so that's the idea. And this is, for example, this is a registered trademark in China. They have a QQ, which is a famous name trademark in China, owned by Tencent. And the next one is AliCloud, AliYun. But we suspect that someone has registered trademark in bad faith in China, and moving forward to apply to us for a DOT trademark. So that's why we rejected this kind of QQ DOT trademark in Chinese in the past few years. So these are the DOT trademark brands. They are using this for obvious purpose, because like this Bank of China and Hutchison and Deloitte and JD and Baidu, and because they use a Chinese name to localize their brand in China. And this is also a corporate liability to provide their consumers or their clients with a safer way to browse their website or to go on the internet to purchase their product, to make sure that their consumers are not distracted by the fake website or fake domain name. So this is the thing we are now educating the world to adopt a safer and more trustworthy domain name as their official online portal. And more examples is coming, and this is SF Express, the biggest logistic companies in China. And we set up our policy committee, inviting world-class experts to help us to finalize, to set up our rules, because it seems that we are now doing an experiment. We are trying to merging the trademark registration and domain name registration together, and we place first priority on trademark right protection. We say no to cybersquatter. We have to harmonize trademark registration, which are based on territorial basis in different countries. And we have to identify the obvious trademark squatting issues. We take on a lot of responsibility in the screening of the DOT trademark registration. And we believe that we are doing the good thing for the internet, and because you cannot take down all the infringing websites in the world by one night. It may take forever to do that. But nowadays, what is the alternative is we set up our own safe, green channel on the internet for the brand owner to communicate with their consumer, in particular in mainland China, just to make sure if all the brands from the world who have business presence in China they can communicate with their Chinese client in a trustworthy way. So more activity. We are now rolling this campaign in the world. We visited INTA and the U.S. Chambers of Commerce, and we actively attend the ICANN meeting. We try to shape ICANN's policy on trademark protection in the future, because ICANN has been criticized by a lot of IP practitioners that they have not yet provided sufficient IP protection for domain name registration. It has been a long history of dialogue for the brand owners to communicate ICANN. But ICANN always said internet is free and open. We could not impose a lot of restriction. So more activities, that's just a screen show up for you to understand that we are now promoting this idea globally, and also in particular in China. We set up our policy committee. We attended the United Nations conference, and we invited the chairman from INTA to come. He supported this idea very much, and this is the conclusion. And we have to do something special to protect our brand online. So this is here comes the end of my presentation. I'm happy to. This is one of our policy members. We are creating the history. Nobody did the same thing. We're the first one set up this dot trademark verifying domain name. If any question, I will be happy to take, or maybe I look forward to exchanging more with you in the breaks. Any question? Yes.
Hi, thanks, Dennis. I don't have a question, but one perspective to share. I think it's a very informative session which you shared. I'll be speaking on a related topic, which is on counterfeit products on social platform, which is like, for example, WhatsApp, Instagram. So another interesting aspect of this issue which you shared. But generally with respect to domain name trademark disputes, I think one challenge is some registrars and registrars have a very lax mechanism of doing seller background information, which I think you touched upon. In fact, some of these counterfeit product owners try to register on these specific sites which are lax and don't have very strong enforcement mechanism. I think that is one issue which we all need to face specifically in China, India, Hong Kong, some of these countries. Other thing is, I think lack of clarity of these website owners. Once the IPR owner comes back and was infringing, on whether they can share the seller information, background information as per their privacy laws, data protection laws. I think that is another issue which they're grappling with and trying to find an answer. So I thought I'll just share this feedback with everyone. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Is it a question or just a comment, right? Is it? Okay, thank you. So I echo your comment, but I just add one point. Tackling cybersquatting it seems to be endless. If you put this down and more is coming up because it's free and open, everybody can create any name. So education is quite important. If someone knowingly to buy some counterfeited product online, that's another issue. What we are now doing to try to make sure there is the normal consumer will not be misled by this kind of misleading or confusing internet information. Yeah.
Any other questions from the floor?